How did one of the most exciting teams in NBA history never even reach the Western Conference Finals?
When people talk about the greatest teams that never won an NBA championship, the Lob City Clippers are always near the top of the list. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and Jamal Crawford, they had all-stars. They had highlight plays every single night. They had championship expectations. But somehow, one of the most talented and exciting teams of the 2010s never even made a Western Conference Finals. So, what really happened?
Before Lob City became one of the NBA's biggest attractions, the Clippers were known for something completely different: losing. For decades, they lived in the shadow of the Lakers. While one franchise celebrated championships, the other struggled to build a winning identity. But in 2009, everything began to change. The Clippers selected Blake Griffin with the first overall pick in the 2009 NBA draft. But there was only one problem. Before his rookie season even began, Blake suffered a fractured kneecap. He missed the entire 2009 through 10 season.
It was a disappointing start, but it also meant something unexpected. Blake Griffin's true rookie season wouldn't begin until 2010. When he finally stepped on the court, Blake Griffin immediately became one of the most exciting players in basketball. His dunks were everywhere. SportsCenter, YouTube, social media, every night it felt like another highlight. But one superstar wasn't enough. In December of 2011, the Clippers pulled off the biggest move in franchise history. They traded for Chris Paul, one of the best point guards in basketball. With Chris Paul running the offense, Blake Griffin flying through the air, and DeAndre Jordan becoming one of the league's best lob threats, a new nickname was born: Lob City. Nobody threw alley-oops like the Clippers. Every game felt like a highlight reel. Chris Paul made impossible passes look routine, and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan finished them with some of the most unforgettable dunks the NBA had ever seen. Lob City wasn't just a nickname. It became one of the biggest brands in basketball. The Clippers had become must-watch television. Now it was time to prove they could become championship contenders. Lob City wasn't just entertaining. They could actually play. Chris Paul immediately transformed the Clippers into one of the best teams in the Western Conference. He brought leadership to the organization and one of the highest basketball IQs in the league. Blake Griffin wasn't just a dunker anymore. Every season, he expanded his game. His ball handling improved, his passing improved, his mid-range jumper became more reliable. He was becoming a complete superstar. Meanwhile, DeAndre Jordan developed into one of the NBA's best defensive centers, protecting the rim, controlling the glass, and finishing everything Chris Paul threw near the basket. And then there was the bench. Jamal Crawford, Matt Barnes, Darren Collison, JJ Redick eventually joined the team. This wasn't just a team built on highlights. It had depth. By 2013, the Clippers weren't trying to prove they belonged anymore. They expected to win. For the first time in franchise history, the Clippers won the Pacific Division. It was another sign that this organization had finally turned the corner. But the regular season success is only part of the story. In the NBA, legacies are built in the playoffs. One of Lob City's first signature playoff moments came against the Memphis Grizzlies. In Game 1, the Clippers trailed by 27 points in the second half. Most teams would have folded. This team didn't. They completed one of the biggest comebacks in NBA playoff history. It became one of the defining moments of the Lob City era. The Clippers won that series in 7 games. It felt like the beginning of something bigger. The expectations only grew. Every season, the pressure got heavier because now people weren't asking if the Clippers could become contenders. They already were. The question became, could they finally break through? And the first round matchup against the Golden State Warriors was one of the most emotional playoff series of the decade, but not just because of basketball.
Just days before the series, audio recordings involving Clippers owner Daryl Starling became public. The controversy quickly became one of the biggest stories in sports. Players around the league questioned whether they should even take the court. Despite everything happening off the court, the Clippers stayed focused. They defeated the Warriors in 7 games. It was one of the biggest victories in franchise history, but the emotional toll of everything surrounding the organization was impossible to ignore. Then came the season that defined Lob City forever. By the time the 2015 playoffs arrived, this wasn't just another good Clippers team. Many people believe this was their best chance to win an NBA championship. Chris Paul was still one of the best point guards in basketball. Blake Griffin had become an all-NBA player. DeAndre Jordan was one of the league's best defensive centers. J.J. Redick gave them elite shooting. Jamal Crawford continued to provide instant offense off the bench. On paper, this team had everything. Unfortunately, their reward for a great regular season was one of the toughest first-round matchups imaginable: the defending NBA champion San Antonio Spurs. Most people believe whoever won this series had a real chance to reach the NBA Finals. And they were right. The series went the distance. 7 games. Every possession mattered. Then, Game 7. Chris Paul wasn't even fully healthy. He was dealing with a hamstring injury, but he refused to sit. With less than 1 second remaining, Chris Paul drove into the lane, floated the ball over Tim Duncan, and gave the Clippers one of the biggest wins in franchise history. The defending champions were eliminated, and for the first time, it truly felt like this could be the Clippers' year. Standing between the Clippers and their first ever trip to the Western Conference Finals were the Houston Rockets. Everything started exactly how Clippers fans dreamed it would. Los Angeles had won 3 of the first 4 games. They were 1 win away from making franchise history. Then, everything changed. Game 6 looked over. The Clippers led by 19 points. The Western Conference Finals were almost within reach. Then, Houston caught fire. James Harden spent most of the fourth quarter on the bench. Instead, Josh Smith, Corey Brewer, and the rest of Houston's role players completely changed the game. The Clippers had blown a 19-point lead. Still, they had one more chance. Back in Houston, everything they had worked for came down to 1 game. The Rockets had won Game 7, and just like that, the Clippers' season was over. To this day, the 2015 collapse remains one of the biggest blown opportunities in NBA playoff history.
And that will do it. One of the most stunning comebacks for a team facing elimination in the history of the NBA.
They had defeated the defending champions. They were 1 win away from the Western Conference Finals. They led by 19 points in Game 6, and somehow it still wasn't enough. And unfortunately, the heartbreak wasn't over. After the collapse against Houston, the Clippers still had talent. Chris Paul was still elite. Blake Griffin was one of the NBA's best forwards. DeAndre Jordan was entering his prime. But something had changed. Their best opportunity had come and gone. The Clippers returned the next season believing they still had another championship run in them. But once again, injuries became a major obstacle. During the 2016 playoffs, Chris Paul fractured his hand, and Blake Griffin has suffered another injury. And in a matter of days, the Clippers lost 2 of their biggest stars. Without them, their championship hopes disappeared. They made one more playoff appearance together, but this time they couldn't get past the Utah Jazz.
For the second straight year, the season ended earlier than expected. And then, the biggest change finally happened. In the summer of 2017, Chris Paul was traded to the Houston Rockets. Just like that, Lob City was officially over. Blake Griffin remained in Los Angeles, but only for a short time. In 2018, Blake Griffin was traded to the Detroit Pistons. The player who helped transform the Clippers into must-watch television was gone. Soon after, DeAndre Jordan also left. Within just a few years, the trio that defined an era had completely disappeared. Just like that, Lob City became history. So, what really happened to Lob City? The answer isn't as simple as saying they choked, because that's only part of the story. First, injuries. Every time it felt like the Clippers were ready to make a deep playoff run, someone important got hurt. Second, the Western Conference was brutal. The Spurs, the Thunder, the Warriors, the Rockets. Every playoff run meant battling a championship caliber team. Third, they let their greatest opportunity slip away. The 2015 Rockets series became the defining moment of the Lob City era, not because it erased everything they accomplished, but because it represented the closest they ever came. And finally, time. Every NBA championship window eventually closes. For the Clippers, that window never closed without ever reaching the Western Conference Finals. Does that make Lob City a failure? I don't think so. Championships matter, but they aren't the only way to measure a team's impact. Lob City helped change how people looked at the Clippers. They made one of the NBA's least successful franchises relevant. They filled areas, they created unforgettable moments, and they inspired an entire generation of basketball fans. No, they didn't win a championship, but they gave basketball fans memories that still live on today. History remembers champions, but sometimes the teams that never won leave just as big of a legacy, and that's what really happened. If you enjoyed this documentary, let's see if we can hit 20 likes on this video. If we reach that goal, episode 4 of What Really Happened is next. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Also, let me know down in the comments, what's the biggest what if in NBA history? If you're new to the channel, subscribe and turn on the post notification bell, so that way you won't ever miss another episode of What Really Happened. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.